Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching this around the world. My name's Gavin, the host of today's show, Crypto Like a Pro, with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Andy Demi. We are broadcasting live on Facebook, we're broadcasting live on YouTube, we are broadcasting live on Share Vision. Mate, it's an interesting day for cryptos. Well, it's been an interesting couple of days for cryptos. Tell us, from the point of view of a professional trader / investor, what are you seeing right now?
A lot of red and probably a lot of panic in the market. But as I was just kind of posting this morning in our Discord group, this is the time to stay calm and collected and take advantage of these kind of moves. It's almost like you should be waiting for this as an opportunity and almost partly hoping for it. Because yes, nobody likes to have their portfolio to all of a sudden take a hit. But if you're kind of doing all the right things and not over leveraging yourself like most people do, and this is how the market sees it. This is just like a way to shake out the greedy, the over leveraged, and this is what the market does, and it's done that really since inception, really, especially as Bitcoin has grown over the last few years. And there's bigger players in there. There's people with serious money in the game now, partly because it's some new money and some old money that's been made. So, it's very easy to see, somebody doesn't have capital, they kind of over leverage and then they get shaked out and then the market continues to go up. So, I'm looking at this as an opportunity, to be honest with you. And I did buy some Bitcoin on this dip, managed to pick some up just over 59. And I've got, we'll go through it on the charts. Obviously, I won't go through it now, but I've got a plan if we break this level of where we're going to go next. I think it's like this is a very key level right now. If we break it, I think we go a little bit. There's another floor which they'll have to hang around with until we go into the chart so I can show them.
Well, you're going to have to give us some likes, guys, and some hearts. Screw the likes. We want good old-fashioned hearts. Imagine it's Valentine's Day, please, just to give the channel some love and so that Facebook knows that we're doing something right, because we're giving a ton of information here and we'll continue to do it for our group. Excuse me. So, guys, let us know how you're feeling with regards, what's your sentiment in the market? I'm just going to do a few shout outs. So Zach is saying, I finally did it. He's #1 comment. Technically, you're not, but you were for the Facebook audience. But Slav's beaten you to it again. He was the first one of all the comments. But you, Zach, you were first to do the comment inside the Facebook group. So congratulations. That's a mini congratulations. Mohammed, good to have you with us. Monica is in the house. Roy's in the house. We've got Kev. We've got Claire. We've got Raj. We've got Nick Paps. We've got Con in the house. Good to have you all with us, guys. So let us know what you're feeling. What's your sentiment for the market? Because there is going to be, like Andy said very eloquently, there's going to be a lot of mixed emotions going on right now. I'm still in my first year in cryptos, but I'm not going to lie, it does suck when you see like a 15-20% retracement on your portfolio. And that does take a bit of getting used to, for sure. But it's just like anything else, right? So when you're younger and you go to the road, or when you start driving and, red, amber, what follows after amber, green, and you just get used to that kind of system. And now this is like my 4th or 5th one of these. It's so true though, isn't it? This correction, this retracement, what happens next after this statistically?
Yeah. Well, I mean, statistically, we expect the market to go back again to green. So it's just where the red is going to end. I think that's the thing. And I think just one more thing. I know sometimes people are kind of sitting there and thinking, some people are saying, oh, it's crypto sales. And I guess if you're in different shoes, you might be thinking, well, it's good for them maybe because they've got the money to go and buy more, but maybe I don't. So but there's two ways you can do it. One is, don't put everything in, or sell on strength. You can manage if you don't have so many funds. As you're making money, you can sell some, keep most of it, but sell some and start building a little pot on the side. And so when we do have these dips, suddenly you're like, oh, I can be one of those guys. I can go on the sales now and go and buy them. And if it doesn't drop, I mean, inevitably it will, like you said. I mean, inevitably it will drop at some point. It's just obviously once it gets parabolic, sometimes you'll get like a move from 60 to 130 and it hasn't taken a breath. So, so that's the risk. But if you do sell on strength, that gives you the opportunity to build that little bit of cash flow. And with some of the things that we're teaching, you could be earning interest and building up your coin base, and you could sell your interest and then use that as another pot and then put that into new coins. Because most people don't even do it, right? They just leave money on the table. They don't even earn the maximum they can from the coins that they're taking. So that's another way of doing it. I just wanted to share that because I know I'm kind of conscious, like some people might be feeling like that. It's great, crypto sales, but actually I don't have any funds. But that's how you plan ahead. So the next time you catch the next big move, have that in your head to start parking some on the side.
Yeah, and it's so true. Like you say, it's an awesome feeling when you've got some of your favorite coins are being produced whilst you're sleeping, and obviously passive income, and they're making you a certain amount of money per day. It's a good feeling, and it's a good point that you make. And obviously this is for everyone in the group, so it's a private group, the Crypto and FX Traders Club. If you're watching it on YouTube or Share Vision, make sure to check us out. Just apply through Facebook and we'll let you in if you're half decent. And you might want to stick around because we're obviously giving lots of information and he's posting trades. But then for obviously, like you said, we've got now a private Discord group and there's information coming in that. And it's very much a fact of, do you have a plan right now? Do you have a plan to capitalize for this, whichever way the direction goes? And I just want to be conscious of the people that don't have a plan. And we've got a comment here from Facebook user, identify yourself, please. Click on the StreamYard link so that we know who you are, because you've been honest. I respect that. Crypto scares me, lol. But we don't know who you are to respect your honesty. But I know you're not the only one. There's a lot of people that will be feeling that, which is why we're doing this show like this, to try and just, I guess, give a voice of reason and a bit of kind of patience and understanding in some of the ensuing panic. Now, not everybody here is going to be at the same level of experience. There's going to be some guys in here that are licking their lips and rubbing their hands together like Del Boy on a Christmas special of Only Fools and Horses, because they know what's likely to come. However, for the majority of people here now, Mr. Andy Demi, can you be a voice of reason and maybe just show us some examples of how this has happened before and maybe why there's not quite so much need to worry right now?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is like, you got to think about where fear comes from. Fear normally comes from, I guess, uncertainty, like you said, no plan. And that might be even just from somebody that's in the game. So somebody who's not in the game looking in, thinking, I can't handle this volatility. The volatility, actually, there's a misconception here. When you think, oh my word, I can't handle 20% drops. But you've got to remember that 20% drops are happening because you're also getting 100% gains. And that's important to remember. So you've got to remember there's a ratio there. So, you're not having to buy a Bitcoin to participate. You can buy fractions. So in essence, what difference does it make if for example, you're looking at the S&P and maybe it drops 1% and then goes up 5%, which it doesn't, by the way. It doesn't move anywhere near as far as much. As we've seen before, Bitcoin is the number one asset class for the last few years in terms of performance. And even on a risk basis. So the thing that you really got to understand is, if you're risking, if you're in a market like Bitcoin, you've just got to put a smaller position size. But that smaller position size will make you more relatively to a bigger position size in a different asset class. So in essence, like a 20% drop could just be a 1% drop for your account. That's something that you have to understand. So really, the fear comes from, I guess, from looking in is maybe not understanding how volatility works. So that's important to kind of stress. And yeah, I think that one of the differences with something like Bitcoin and alternative coins is relative to say like some established markets like the S&P and gold and so on, is that things tend to happen extremely fast. That's one of the differences. So when you look back on a chart, actually it just looks normal, right? And it's like, oh, it's just a normal pullback. I think we showed it in the presentation the other day, Gav. Like, it's just, it's just a normal pullback. But actually, when you measure it, it's a 20, 30, 40% pullback. But actually, on the chart, it just looks normal. There's nothing crazy about it. But with Bitcoin, because it's a new asset class and it's not really mainstream still, and altcoins even more so not mainstream, the moves tend to be extremely fast. Things happen really, really quickly. It's like you press fast forward, which I quite like, to be honest, because it suits my personality. I like fast. I wouldn't be a bond trader, for example, where things move extremely slow. So yeah, it is absolutely normal. And even if you traded a traditional market or shares or whatever, you'll see that there are normal pullbacks. And actually, you could probably put charts together and they look almost the same. It's just right now, it's like there's a price discovery that's going on Bitcoin. And I think most people agree that 60,000 is way lower than what the true value of Bitcoin is. So that's kind of important to understand. Like, when you look at the big institutions, they're kind of saying, well, yeah, it is what it is now, but we think it's going to be 500,000, 1 million, whatever the predictions are. So it's like it's nowhere near the price it needs to be. So that's why you get these crazy moves. And sometimes, and you also have different types of market participants, the ones that are trying to get rich quick. And then you're now getting the big players that are essentially able to kind of take advantage of that greed, where, you can go into Binance and you could put high leverage position and, look to sort of make a lot of money. But if you get it wrong, it's very easy just to wipe that account out. So that's kind of, but yeah, so in essence, the moves are very, very normal. And there's, it's just, they look harsh when you're participating. And I think most of us, this is probably true for most of us, where we're kind of mostly looking at the upside. We're not considering, hey, what if it did do this? And I think that's the other thing as well, is that you're not mentally preparing for these dips and you're not ready for them. And part of that mental preparation, by the way, is what I said, which is like, actually, as it's going up, if you were selling some and strength, you're almost saying to yourself, this isn't guaranteed, it's just going to keep going up. Like, we could have one of these dips. So that's kind of almost preparing for it could dip, I guess.
Very interesting points. I don't know if you want to, I'm going to just do a few more shout outs and see in the comment section. I don't know if you want to get up on the chart and show an example maybe of one of the previous Bitcoin retracements, just so people can kind of put a name on it and kind of see what they look like. I'll give you a bit of time and I'll just go through this. So we've got Connor in the house. Good to have you with us, Connor. Hussein Afi in the house. Good to have you with us, Afi. Coach Kaiser or Kaiser, I'm sure one of the three will be correct. I apologize for the other two, which were horribly wrong. I am up at 5 a.m. thinking I should sell and wait to get back in. So yeah, it depends, I guess, what price you got into. And like Andy's saying, if you're selling at strength, or whether you're going to have to sit it out with a few sweats and wait for it to get back into your original entry position. Hopefully you would have not bought too high at the top if you're watching this show. Zach is saying staking is awesome. And Nick, who's one of our trading students and investor students now, he's loving it. He's loving life at the moment. He's put, I was short all the way from 64 to 61, was a good trade. Keep up the work, my friend. You are smashing it at the moment, and you're building a really good momentum. We've got Julie in the house as well. And I know Andy said that we had an event, which we did have. We've got another event. So that was like a pre-event for our crypto students. We've done a simplified version of that training. It's an extended version. It will be coming out at the start of next week. So make sure to check your emails for that. And you'll understand a lot more. It's a shame really that this didn't happen after the majority of people get to see that training, because I think it would make a heck of a lot more sense. But we are where we are now. There are always going to be opportunities, and hopefully that has filled in enough time for you to drop some more knowledge bombs for us, Mr. Demi.
Yeah, I'm just having a look. So we've got the daily chart. So I've cleaned up my chart just to start fresh. So kind of back on what you said about, when the market is trending. Okay, so when the market is in a bullish phase, you can kind of see that, here's an example, market's rallying, and, this was around that sort of 40K level. And, you might have bought 40K, right? And then the market basically dropped all the way down to there. So, and often this is when the traps happen. You feel like you're going to miss the whole move, and then that's the top. So, that for example, there's a 32% drop, right? But when you look at it on a chart, it really doesn't look like such a big deal, right? I mean, and you get it here, and you get it here, and you get it here. Now, this obviously was a much more significant drop, but that's because the trend changed, right? So if you had kind of drawn in your trend line here, you would have seen firstly the break here, and then the test, and then the market went lower. So from a technical analysis point of view, this is where the confirmation of the downtrend was made. But for a lot of us, you could have kind of predicted it from here, that once that had broken, and then the retest, then that was now going lower. Since then, we have now gone into a bullish phase, and so you could do various different things, but a simple thing is that we broke through this line. For those that can do market angles, you'd even do a market angle there to say, right, okay, now we're on this side of this, it looks like we're going to go higher, and since then basically that's exactly what we've done. So essentially, strong move, there's your big retracement, strong move, there's a retracement, and now it's doing one of two things. So either we're just basing, right, and we're just going to kind of, and then break, right, that's that, or even just break. That's one possibility. If I just take this off, the other possibility is, of course, we could go and go test this line, for example, which basically is just a parallel of that line there. But I think right now, I mean, with all things that we can see, because we've some people would say, oh, is this it could be a kind of fake out and then go lower. I mean, we can't. If you have a look at this here, it's quite interesting, because we had this kind of, if you look here, it looks kind of similar, right? But have a look at this. So market pushes up, pushes down, right? Market pushes up, pushes down. And then we take out the high there, we take out the high there. Market pulls back, and then it goes again, takes out the high, and this kind of here was known as a Wyckoff pattern. I mean, there's a possibility that could happen again, but again, this goes back to what we were saying. You know, of course, there's so many different scenarios that could and couldn't happen, right? So if you've been lucky enough, like I bought this morning, and if this does break here, like, you know, I've got the option, right? I've got the option to say, well, look, just in case this repeats, why don't I just, you know, maybe channel it up there and just take some profit there, you know, around that sort of 70 odd K, right? That could be a nice profit taking area. And then if it does drop, then at least then, like I said before, I've got a little bit of cash that I could then put back in at cheaper prices. And if it doesn't, that's also fine as well, because there's always ways you can get back in. We can use the lower time frame. So once you kind of break and it's like, oh no, it's not that, you can go to the lower time frames and then look to get in again. So it's never like, oh, why did I get out? As long as you know what you're doing, as long as you have a plan, everything is okay. Everything is okay. So firstly, hopefully, you guys are getting some value from what I'm sharing here. But the biggest thing that I can say is that don't kind of put all your eggs in it going to 100K just because we've been speaking about that, right? Because the market surprises us. But just be prepared for everything, and just don't be greedy. Like, you know, you can't be thinking, right, once it goes to 100K, I'm going to make this amount of money, because then your brain can't see what's really happening. See, like there, we just together I just saw that, and I thought, well, this looks very similar. And I promise I'm only seeing that for the first time just as we're speaking now. But you guys could probably see the similarities, right? I don't know if people are commenting or not, but it does look quite similar. So you have to be open to, like, well, it could happen. So let's be open to it and just be prepared. So if we get a push up to 70 and we're in Bitcoin, well, maybe just take a little bit off. Okay, just take a little bit off and put it into USDT and have it ready, or put it into another altcoin, which maybe you feel is undervalued, right? Whatever your strategy might be. So shall I? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I will just. I don't know if anybody's asked it or got any comments or questions, but I can also do the fibs here to see where it's pointing to, because I think if we want to get like a confirmation, the fibs are very, very powerful.
Yeah, let's do that with so let's tie in your usual Bitcoin price prediction. So as we're at this point now, so we've done this work up until this point, and yeah, let's see what you feel is going to happen within the next 7 hours to the next 7 days, as we normally do during this segment of the show.
Yeah, okay. So here's what I can kind of quickly see. We've got this fast move up, super shallow pullback. So it doesn't pull back here. That's typically what happens in a breakout. We stop in this kind of last part of our fade zone, consolidates. Now it hits the 1618. The most likely scenario, guys, is a push up to here before resistance. I would expect, so I think if you're long Bitcoin right now, if you took it this morning, as I said, I did post it in the Discord group, but that was kind of really for the general market. But if you are long, and I would kind of be looking for this low to hold, because I think if this low doesn't hold, then I think we'll probably go down a bit lower towards 53. I think that would be the most likely scenario. I think if we do break lower, there's every chance that we go down to this kind of area here. So, like you can see, it's quite a nice level as well. I think I could definitely see that as a potential, like very fast that would be the kind of, that kind of hits that line as well. So that's the bearish scenario. The more bullish scenario right now is that we hold here. Okay, and I'll show you why what I posted this morning is this. So this is what I posted. So you can see it's hit a double market angle line, which is one of our most powerful tools. And actually, if I show you the fibs, it was literally, Nick mentioned it yesterday, combining market angles with the fibs, it's like literally being able to predict the future. And this is exactly what this trade was this morning. So the market literally went into two market angles and hit my Fibonacci D. And, and I basically bought it. To be honest, I couldn't get to my computer fast enough, but this took me about 5 minutes to execute. And I'll show you my account. I mean, just so you know that I really did take this trade. That's what I've done since this morning. That's just one quick trade this morning. And that was like, it took me 2 minutes to find, because I've done this work beforehand. So I'm up about 1,300 quid. If we hold, but that's almost going to be risk-free, because the stock will just pretty much get tightened up as I monitor this, and then it becomes almost like a risk-free trade. So if the market does break lower, I'm going to be looking then at that sort of 53 to then buy again. So that's kind of that's how I found the trade. But like I said, I'm not kind of banking on it holding here, because I can see both scenarios. But this was like an obvious place to kind of get in, to where I've got the opportunity, and I kind of look at it as like, if you buy the low of a bounce, it gives you breathing room, right? So now I've got like 1,300 quid's worth of breathing room. So if this market starts to go down, that's absolutely fine. I might just scratch the trade, get out at free trade. But if it goes, then I've locked in profit, and then I can just start, thinking about where to take profits. But for this one, this is where I would be looking to take profits. It would be basically up here. It makes sense to me. It matches my Fibonacci perfectly. The fibs are basically telling me this is the target, and that's what I'm expecting, guys. So if we hold here and we close like that, then I think we go there in the next week. If we close bearish, so if we close below this line, I think we go down towards these lows here. And I think that's where we get a bounce, and then we'll see if this bounce is going to be similar to what we saw before, where it just bounced and then went lower. I don't think that's going to happen. I think even if we did go lower, I do think that it will probably just break up. But we never trade what we think, guys. We just trade what we see. And I literally will let the market show me, and we listen. That's what, if you want to be a good trader, good investor, you just listen to the market, not your opinion. And in fact, don't listen to anybody's opinion. Listen to the market. The market will show you. If you can do your technical analysis, you just need to follow that, because it's always telling. It doesn't matter what opinion is in the news or what your favorite YouTuber is saying. Everything is here.
Boom. So that was the Bitcoin price prediction by former hedge fund trader, Mr. Andy Demi. So that was pretty awesome, mate. Guys, I'm just going to check in with the questions. A Mozzie's just flown in. It's really humid again here, and the Mozzies seem to hunt me down like they are on a heat-seeking missile. So Dave Wells is saying, does a Wyckoff pattern normally precede a sell-off or bull run? And if so, could the institutional traders use this as a repeating pattern trap?
Yeah, Dave, good question. So it can work for both. It can, you can, but when the market is bullish, then it would be a bearish pattern. So you can look for it on the flip side as well. So, for example, I'm going to be honest. This is not I'm not an expert on Wyckoff. I'm just aware of institutions using it, so it's good to know the pattern. And so, I guess this could have been a Wyckoff pattern here as well, and then the market reversed. So in this instance, it would be a bull trap. So with the intention of pushing the market lower. But like I said, I mean, that may not even come into fruition. It may not. It does have similarities to this, I must say. But yeah, I mean, it could be nothing. But the one thing though, if it is going to be, you still expect another leg up. So you take out these highs, and then potentially the market reverses. So if I mean, that's why for me, if we take out this high, now you're just kind of, you're kind of thinking about some profit taking in this block. And I say 75 right now, but I can also look at the lower time frames at that time, see what the markets are showing, and then make the call. And don't be afraid to take profit and let if the market goes high, that's fine. You'll keep some on the table and still profit, but you're doing the smart thing. You're doing the smart thing and preparing.
Interesting you say about taking profits. Nick saying you've got nerves not to take that 1300. I hope I achieve this level of composure. I guess it's all relative, right? The 1300 for Andy is maybe like $100. For us, it's a percentage of your trading account. And obviously that doesn't include your long-term holdings in Bitcoin either. Coach Key is back. He's saying it may be off topic, but with the SEC breathing down our necks, it may be a bad idea for me to sell at 60. He bought at 35 and wait for maybe 53 to get back in. Capital gains may eat me up. Just holding may be the best plan for us.
Yeah. I mean, if you bought a 35, like sometimes you can try and be a hero. You can try and sort of, try and get out and then get back in cheaper. But I know it's also a dangerous game as well. And like you rightly said, there is, when you do sell, there is the question of capital gains tax as well. So yeah, I mean, if you're a long-term believer in Bitcoin, then you don't really need to worry about these swings. You bought a 35, you just hold, and let the swings happen. Like, there's no need for you to be, looking to get in and out. So that's kind of a different approach. But yes, the tax thing does come into play. I've got to say that is a consideration. So it really depends on, whether you're going to be an active investor, stroke trader, or if you're just going to be like, look, I do other stuff. I just buy coins for wealth building, for an inflation hedge, and then just leave them alone. In that case, that's absolutely fine to do that. And there's some really cool ways you can actually use your holdings to essentially never have to sell your coins. You can use them in different ways as collateral and so on. And we won't get into that now, but yeah, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to be selling, I guess, from a tax point of view.
It never does nothing ever makes sense from a tax point of view, does it really? But we digress. So look, that was the Bitcoin price prediction. We've still got a little bit of time. So why don't we jump on and do a bit of Ethereum breakdown? They're the big two, especially with people maybe not quite having the insight that we can give them here. So maybe we just jump on and do a bit of Ethereum breakdown to finish off the show. What do you think?
Ethereum, yeah, we can definitely look at Ethereum for sure. That's absolutely fine. Let's do it.
I saw another question as well.
Another question
from Connor. Do you set some buy orders 20 to 30% lower than current price when market looks like hitting channel lines, top or RSI, etc., to catch these pullbacks that go a bit lower? So I guess, yeah, are you just going to automatically place the limit buy or the limit sell, or would you just place an alert on those lines and then go back to it? I guess is the question.
Yeah, a bit of both, to be honest. There'll be some coins that I want to buy or I want to add to, but they've just got a bit expensive. So I will, in those ones, I will look and see. I'll place an order and just hope that it gets there. But if it doesn't, equally, I'm okay with just holding what I've got. So I don't really want to be adding positions as the market's breaking higher, because it's really messing up my my average buy price. So with certain coins that I think, I should really increase my weight in this one. I like it. It's doing a lot of great things. In that case, I'll just put the order in. But with the rest, yeah, I've got alerts everywhere just to let me know when it could be out of value area, and then I'll decide if it's something that I want to invest in, because it's also having, you're either going to have the spare cash, or you're going to have to replace one of your other holdings with that holding. So I make the decision at that time whether it's worth doing that. Yeah, so that's kind of how I do it.
Awesome. So let's move on. Let's move on to Bitcoin while we've still got some time.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ethereum.
Oh, sorry, Ethereum.
Let me see. Yeah, we'll do this one. Okay. So let's clean this up. Okay, we'll just get rid of these. Okay, so here's Ethereum. And let's have a little look at the whole picture. So, okay. So here's what if we just kind of start with the fibs, since they're on there already. We've kind of done this this kind of ABC with an expected D coming in at 5,000, and I do think that looks like the right place. Now, potentially, I mean, if the whole market dips lower, if Bitcoin dips lower, then potentially this could as well. But what it could do is it could come back, maybe back to its 618, and I'll tell you what that level is. If there's a deeper pullback, I quite like this area actually, because I can see kind of there or thereabouts, like there. That's quite a nice level of resistance. Resistance became support. So if it was to pull back a little bit more, I think this kind of area here, 3.7, would be a great pickup on Ethereum. For me, anything under 5K is still really good value for Ethereum, with our sort of long-term target. Now, let me just have a little look to see a general kind of market move, what it looks like. Yeah, so you've got basically, yeah, that's a little bit, yeah, so that's a little bit higher. So you've got the 50%, that's another level, 3,880. And obviously 4,000 is going to be key. Like 4,000 people are going to be looking at as well. So 4,000 could also be an interesting area. So essentially, like, if it's going to pull back any further, realistically, that's your kind of buy box for the continued move. And then your first, if you do this as a trade, your first kind of target should be about 5,000. If I just head over to the 4-hour chart for a sec. let's see what it's showing here. Yeah, so that's very interesting. So the market has pulled back to our to our 70% level, which gives it a target of, so on the 4-hour time frame, it's basically pointing to that as your target. And that's also very, very interesting, because that's pretty much 5,000 again, guys. So when you get multiple level confirmations, it makes it very powerful. So for me, there's a very strong chance that Ethereum will rally and go and hit that 5,000 and then probably reject. It might even, like if you can see up here, you've got 2 big key fib levels here. Okay, I'm not going to go into details of explaining all of this stuff. For those that are on our program, so I know why this is extra powerful. But you can see there, it could easily spike up here and then hold. So either retrace or consolidate and then decide if it's then going to break higher. But, you know, for traders, for active traders, that's where I'd be looking to take profit. So the likelihood is, guys, is that we rally. Okay, similar to Bitcoin, I think the likelihood is that we do rally. But like I said, if it's going to go a bit lower, then it kind of changes the game plan a little bit. But from here, I'd be looking for this to go higher, go and hit 5,000. That would be my next level. And then if it does that, it kind of sets us up quite nicely for the rest of the month. Because you can see, if we go back over here to the daily chart. So at this level here, at 5,000, you may get, like I said, a retracement. But sometimes it, you know, especially when markets go quite parabolic, you know, you might get a push and then a small consolidation, maybe touch that, build up a little flag, especially if this is going to go parabolic, and then do something like that. And that's kind of roughly what we said is our long-term target. Our medium-term target, not our long-term target is much higher, but our medium-term target would be for Ethereum to hit 7,000 before the turn of the year. I think that's quite probable. And yeah, so that's kind of the idea there. So this is a key area here. What if we hit 5,000, does it retrace? In which case it's not as strong as what I'm saying. So the parabolic move is not there. Or does it just go, hit, consolidate, flag, and then once it breaks, then you'd expect that quick move up towards that area. And you can use different tools to work out where it's going to go, but we will use the fibs when the time is relevant. So that's kind of, those are my thoughts on Ethereum. So we've got kind of goes from here, or we pull back into this block here, and that becomes a great value area for people to add to their long-term plays. That's it, guys. Any questions?
I'll try that again. It's 11:15 here, so pardon me today. I'm feeling a little bit tired, but that concludes today's show. So we've broken down Bitcoin. We've done the Bitcoin price prediction. Andy's projected moves within the next 7 hours to the next 7 days. We had a bit of extra time. So we've gone into the Ethereum charts that you've just seen there. And also, more importantly, we've tried to be a bit of voice of reason within the panic and the sea of red that is happening right now. Hopefully that's kind of put your mind at ease, especially if you're still new to cryptos, or if you're still sitting on the sidelines and you're like, oh, I don't know, this is one of the reasons why I don't really like cryptos. Hopefully that's helped to put your mind at ease. Basically, with those parabolic moves and the parabolic gains, 100% gains, 3x gains, 5x gains in a matter of days or weeks, there's going to be these 20 to 30% retracements, and that is part of the game. Is there anything that you want to say before we leave?
Well, there's a lot we can say, but
within the next 30 seconds.
Within the next 30 seconds. No, I think, yeah, I guess the main point is, I don't know if 30 seconds is enough, but the main point is that as long as you are organized and have a solid idea of what could happen, and then also planning for the worst case scenario, you're always going to be ahead of the game. Like, you've got to think about, that's not what most people do. And that's why most people, even in a market like cryptos, which has been exceptional, if you just bought and held, like, you'd be in a great position, right? If you've been holding. But people kind of get greedy, over leverage themselves, and then they end up losing their money. So as long as you are organized and planned, just keep doing the right things. You're going to make money from this. Like, it's kind of inevitable. So don't panic when you see these kind of moves, and just, stay calm and be different to the rest of the market, and make rational decisions, and that way you'll always be ahead of the game.
Wise words, Mr. Demi. So look, we're going to bounce. We will be back next week with our FX show. We're going to be back with the crypto show this time next week, next Tuesday. So Mondays FX, Tuesdays cryptos. We've got the brand new training coming out as well from next Monday, so keep an eye out for that. And yeah, we will love you and leave you guys, and have a great day or great evening wherever you're joining us from around the world. Take care, guys. See ya.
Take care, guys.